All right, let's get to the co-main event. This one I'm really, really excited for, as we got my guy Magomed Ankalaev finally trying to stay busy, going up against Nikita Krylov. Obviously, he's a big favorite here, minus 350. Come back on Krylov at plus 290. I'm a Magomed Ankalaev stan. I'm gonna try to do this breakdown without being as biased as hell. But the guy just looks so good in the cage, right? The only knock you can really give this guy is that 1 second slip up against Paul Craig, and then the level of competition. But he doesn't have any control over that, right? Like the strength of schedule is something that a lot of people are knocking him on here and saying that Krylov is a huge step up. And in part, I do agree that it's a step up. I'm not sure if it's a huge step up. Krylov leaves himself out there to be taken advantage of more often than not. Very wild in his exchanges when he's trying to close the distance. Are we going to get Nicky wrestles this time around, like he fought freaking Johnny Walker? Putting on that singlet and taking him down time and time again. I think he accrued over 11 minutes of control time in that fight. I highly doubt that. I don't think he's going to be able to control a guy like Ankalaev on the ground for that long. Maybe he might be successful in getting a takedown or two, right? Craig was successful in getting him down twice, but he did work his way right back to his feet immediately, not really letting Craig get much damage or submission attempts off at that point. And I find it hard to believe that Krylov will be able to do the same here. The one thing that I love about Ankalaev's striking game is just his fluidity when it comes to like switching stances, because he'll come out in every single fight the opposite stance of his opponent at all times. Whether it's Klidson Abreu with his southpaw stance, he'll come out with an orthodox. Whether it's his other fight, Stalcha Lungiambula comes out orthodox, this guy comes out southpaw. And he throws the exact same combinations with the same amount of comfortability from both stances. And I love it because you just don't know what you're going to be getting hit with against this guy. Now, he has a 63 or 68% striking defense rate, which leads you to believe that he's a very efficient striker, waits for his moments to really explode. And that might be a detriment to him for possible volume reasons and output reasons if he goes up there and, fights Krylov, who is kind of high output at times. But I just think it makes up for itself because when he is landing, he's landing the more damaging blows, the more obvious damaging blows. And optically, it just looks way more better for Ankalaev to go out there and land these precision strikes and not get hit as much, and maybe not throwing as much, but still landing the better shots here. I think he's obviously the better technical striker here. Krylov, his only advantage, in my opinion, is his experience. The fact that he's been in there with so many different guys. The guy's like 28 years old and has like 30-something fights, which is crazy because I think he went pro when he was 18 or 19 and then just banged out a fight like every single month until he finally made it to the UFC. And yeah, I think Ankalaev wins this fight. I think he has him beat pretty much everywhere, but I think it's going to come down to the recklessness of Krylov, which is going to get him put out early in this fight. Earlier in the week, I was thinking maybe we'd see Ankalaev just outpoint him, stay on the outside, but it's going to come down to Krylov. Krylov just doesn't fight, strategically as much. Yeah, okay, in the Johnny Walker fight, he was able to take advantage of the porous takedown defense and the poor grappling of Johnny Walker, but he's not going to have that advantage here. Like, he might have the advantage in terms of getting the fight to the ground, but I don't think it's going to be such an advantage to the point that it looks like the Johnny Walker fight. I'd be very, very surprised if we see that off of Magomed's back. But Ankalaev has just been looking great as of late. If you check out his IG, he's been working with Javier Mendez as of late as well too, working with those AKA guys, Usman Nurmagomedov, and a lot of that crew over there. So he's really rounding out his game. I think this guy is truly a future 205-pound champion. He's going to be holding that strap by the end of 2022, in my opinion. And I think he puts out Krylov early here. So yeah, I'll go Krylov first round KO plus 225 from to win inside round one. That's a spot that I like. For him to win by KO, I think is like minus 105, minus 125. So you can cover at least the wider range of this fight. But yeah, I like Ankalaev and I like him early here. How about you?
I'm a big Ankalaev fan, absolutely. I think he's got skills everywhere. And I think that Paul Craig fight is the only reason why a lot of people are still hesitant on him. Like, whether it's Paul Craig, whether it's losing a fight with a second left, whether it's a triangle that comes out of, like you just see it happen in slow motion it's like, no,
Yeah,
don't do this. No, don't. Oh, 1 second left. Like, surely they're yelling to him, like, just hold on. Like, was it a heart issue? Was it this? But beyond that, man, it's like he's got skills everywhere. Like, he would otherwise be undefeated. I mean, and he does not lose rounds. He doesn't really lose exchanges. He's having his way with these guys. He kind of can do it all. He's got good cardio, especially for 205. Pushes a good pace. He's fluid. He's mobile. He's got good footwork. I wouldn't say like great footwork, but good and mobile, especially at 205. And that's something Krylov's gotten away with as well, is that he's super fast and mobile for this division as well. Take that, neutralize it off the table. Ankalaev's equally as fast. His striking is good. You see it, it was a work in progress before, but he's got big power. He's got a nasty head kick. He's got these big hooks. You see him in the both fights against Ion Cutelaba, where it's like, if he chooses to be reckless and let these hands go, he's got a ton of power. His submission game, not bad as well, but he just grinds you down. He's in no hurry to finish these fights. If the fights happen to get finished, that's great. He'll take it. But he doesn't mind going out there and putting in a workman's 15 minutes in. So beyond him having to do that, I like this over 1.5 round.
Yeah.
Now the over 1.5 round is sitting at minus 150. It's a like okay little price tag. But when you look at Krylov, right? Krylov's last fight with Johnny Walker, full decision fight. He decides to grapple a lot more in that fight. The fight with Glover Teixeira, it's full 15-minute fight, goes to decision. The fight with OSP, it was actually 2:30 of the second round, like literally on the dot. You would have got a push on the over under 1.5 round. The Jan Blachowicz fight, it was the over 1.5 round. The Fabio Maldonado fight, it was the over 1.5 round. So you're looking at 5 straight fights out of Nikita Krylov, who's a very potent finisher. He's the guy that's going out there and finishing these guys early in the first round, getting a lot of these finishes. His last 5 fights have hit that over 1.5. And with Magomed Ankalaev, he's been taking out Ion Cutelaba. He's able to finish him. But for the most part, he doesn't mind going and fighting that Klidson Abreu type fight where it's like, I'll outstrike you when I need to. I'll out-grapple you when I need to. If I got you hurt, I don't have to overexert myself, but just try to bank in a little bit of time. If the finish presents itself later in the fight, it is what it is. But that over 1.5 minus 150, I don't mind that. Ankalaev straight up, if you were to look at money line, which is something we'll talk about, you and I can talk about tomorrow night. But yeah, it's a big price tag. So you want to chase a prop on this fight, if anything. And what feels the best, right? Do you go with Ankalaev? I liked Ankalaev by decision plus 225, but then it's like, oh man, these are two guys that go out there. Yeah, like this is Nikita Krylov A. I know his last 2 fights have gone the distance, but this is Krylov A, and this is Ankalaev, who does have that Paul Craig loss. He does have these knockout wins over Cutelaba, especially big knockout wins over Cutelaba. That second one, first one, obviously, we all know what happened there. But it's like, oh man, this guy, if this guy chooses to go out there and chase a $50,000 bonus, like this fight ain't going the distance. And with Krylov, it's like, if he knows his best path to victory is catch this guy early, this fight ain't going the distance. So is 225 a good enough price tag there? Maybe not. Okay, well, let's go Ankalaev inside the distance. Again, I didn't feel like that was a prop I really liked, but that over 1.5. Now, do we get greasy and chase the over 2.5, or chase just fight goes the distance? I don't know, but 1.5 is only minus 150. Don't get greedy. That seemed like the play I like, and hopefully we don't have. Actually, if it's Chris Tognoni, hammer that 1.5. Okay, he'll let the guy die before he steps in there, so that would be a good play. But beyond that, yeah, I think they bank up a little bit of time. I think they grind a little bit. Krylov's last fight against Johnny Walker is super telling. Johnny Walker is a guy that can strike, right? Is a dynamic striker, but is chinny. Corey Anderson knocked him out. You've seen him get wobbled. You've seen him just like, there's something that is left to be desired. I honestly, when I broke down that fight, I was like, I got Krylov, live underdog, plus 175, I think, plus 145, live underdog. I think he's going to go out there and outstrike him. I think he's going to, and he wanted nothing to do with the strike. He just decided to wrestle, decided to grapple, decided to slow the pace down. That's not on the table here. You're not going to go out there and take down Ankalaev and slow him down and use that as a path to victory. But the fact that he was willing to try it, makes me like that over 1.5. Go out there and try to grapple him. Okay, all it's going to do is kill some time off the clock. And if you stay at distance, that's where it's the most dangerous. But Ankalaev's chin checks out. He's got a good chin. I've seen him get hit, pretty good. And with Krylov's been knocked out once in his entire career. He's got 35 pro fights. He's been fighting since he's 18 years old. He's been knocked out once in his entire career, okay? Late in the 3rd round of his UFC debut on short notice, up against heavyweight Soa Pelele, who was easily 300 pounds come fight night. Yeah. And when you have a 300-pound Samoan on top of you, smashing your face in late in the 3rd round, there was just nowhere to go. Outside of that, the guy's chin's been remarkably good. So survive for the 7.5 minutes, baby. And minus 150, easily feels a lot better than betting Ankalaev 335.
Yeah. No, but I think my concern with that over is Krylov's approach, right? If he goes out there, tries to wrestle and isn't successful with it, his striking defense is really not the greatest. He really leaves himself open to be countered there. And I think Ankalaev will absolutely take full advantage of that. But it comes down to Krylov, right? Again, he's only been to a decision twice in his career, and it's only his last two fights where he was willing to be super engaged in that grappling realm against Glover Teixeira and Johnny Walker. Whereas Ankalaev, obviously has a clear advantage here on the feet. How he does in terms of stuffing takedowns is another question. Again, Paul Craig got him down twice. We did see him get right back to his feet, so that's a good thing. But we haven't seen him really tested in the takedowns since that fight. And I think that Krylov, if he is smart, if he has any type of fight IQ after 30 something fights, he's going to try to attack that takedown first and see if that's a path to victory for him there. But yeah, I do like Ankalaev. The spot that I'm going to go with is around 1 KO, though I don't mind that over 1.5 at all either.